Jaya Radha Madhava Hari Jaya Radha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Sorry, also thought of CC with AC. Bhagavad Samsara Prabhupada ki jai. Samsara Haridas Thakur ki jai. Ram Sagaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopita Shama Kunda Radha Giri Govardhan ki jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Ganga Jamuna Tulasi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Gopravanandi. All glories to the Sam devotees. All glories to the Sam devotees. All glories to the Sam devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadesha Tadane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 53, Verse 26. Evam chintayati bala Govinda Krita Manasa Nyamilayata Kalagya Netre Chasu Kalakule. Evam, in this manner, Chintayati, thinking, Bala, young girl, Govinda, by Krishna, Krita, stolen, Manasa, whose mind, Nyamilyata, she clothes, Kala, time, Indya, knowing, Netre, her eyes, Sha, and Asrukala, with tears, Akule, brimming. Translation: as she thought in this way, the young maiden whose mind had been stolen by Krishna closed her tear-filled eyes, remembering that there was still time. Purport: Srila Sridhar Swami explains the word kalagya as follows. Rukmini thought it is not even the right time yet for Govinda to come, and thus she felt a bit consoled. O king, as the bride thus awaited the arrival of Govinda, she felt a twitch in her left thigh, arm, and eye. That was a sign that something desirable would happen. Just then, the purest of learned brahmanas, following Krishna's order, came to see the divine Princess Rukmini within the inner chambers of the palace. Purport: according to Srila Sridhar Swami, Sri Krishna had reached the gardens outside the city, and out of concern for Rukmini, he had instructed the brahmana to tell her of his arrival. Noting the brahmana's joyful face and stirring movements, Saint Rukmini, who could expertly interpret such symptoms, inquired from him with a pure smile. The brahmana announced to her the arrival of Lord Yadunandana and relayed the Lord's promise to marry her. Princess Vaidarbhi was overjoyed to learn of Krishna's arrival, not finding anything at hand suitable to offer the Brahmana, she simply bowed down to him. The king, upon hearing that Krishna and Balaram had come and were eager to witness his daughter's wedding, went forth with abundant offerings to greet them as music resounded, presenting them with madhuparka, new clothing, and other desirable gifts. He worshipped them according to standard rituals. Generous King Bhishmaka arranged opulent accommodation for the two lords and also for their army and entourage. In this way he afforded them proper hospitality. Thus, it was that Bhishmaka gave all desirable things to the kings who had assembled for the occasion, honoring them as befitting their political power, age, physical prowess, and wealth. When the residents of Vidarbhapur heard that Lord Krishna had come, they all went to see him. With cup palms of their eyes, they drank the honey of his lotus face. The people of the city said, Rukmini and no one else deserves to become his wife, and he also, possessing such flawless beauty, is the only suitable husband for Princess Vaishmi. Purport. According to Srila Vishnu Chakravarti, this text combines statements made by different citizens. Some pointed out that Rukmini was a suitable wife for Krishna, and others said that no one else was suitable. Similarly, some stated that Krishna was most suitable for Rukmini, and others stated that no one else would be suitable husband for her. May Achyuta, the creator of the three worlds, be satisfied with whatever pious work we may have done, and show us mercy by taking the hand of Vaidarbhi. Purport. The devoted citizens of Vidarbha lovingly offered their entire stock of pious credit to Princess Rukmini. They were very eager to see her marry Lord Krishna. Bound by their swelling love, the city's residents spoke in this way. Then the bride, protected by guards, left the inner palace to visit the temple of Ambika. Purport. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti quotes the Maidini Dictionary's definition of the word kala as follows: kala mule pravardav syat childadav amsa matra ke. The word kala means root, increase, stone, or merely a part. Rukmini silently went out on foot to see the lotus feet of the deity Bhavani, accompanied by her mothers and girlfriends and protected by the kings of valiant soldiers who held their upraised weapons at the ready. She simply absorbed her mind in the lotus feet of Krishna, and all the while mridangas, conch shells, pandavas, horns, and other instruments resounded. Behind the bride followed thousands of prominent courtesans bearing various offerings and presents, along with well-adorned brahmanas' wives, singing and reciting prayers and bearing gifts of garlands, scents, clothing, and jewelry. There were also professional singers, musicians, bards, chroniclers, and heralds. Purport. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti explains that from her own quarters up to the temple of Bhavani, Rukmini went by palanquin and thus was easily protected. Only for the last 12 to 15 feet from the palace to the temple area did she go on foot with royal bodyguards stationed outside the temple on all sides. Upon reaching the goddess's temple, Rukmini first washed her lotus feet and hands and then sipped water for purification. Thus sanctified and peaceful, she came into the presence of Mother Ambika. The older wives of Brahmanas, expert in the knowledge of rituals, led young Rukmini in offering respects to Bhavani, who appeared with her consort, Lord Bhava. Purport. According to the Acharyas here, the term Bhavanvitam indicates that in the Ambika temple visited by Rukmini, the presiding deity was the goddess whose husband appeared in an accompanying role. Thus the ritual was properly performed by women. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti comments that the term Vidigya may be understood to mean that since the learned wives of Brahmanas knew of Rukmini's desire to marry Krishna, the word Vandayam Chakru thus indicates that they prompted her to pray for what she really wanted. In this way, like the goddess Bhavani, Rukmini could be united with her eternal male companion. Rukmini prayed, "O Mother Ambika, wife of Lord Shiva, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you together with your children. May Lord Krishna become my husband. Please grant this." Rukmini worshipped the goddess with water, scents, whole grains, incense, clothing, garlands, necklaces, jewelry, and other prescribed offerings and gifts, and also with array of lamps. The married Brahmana women each performed worship simultaneously with the same items. Also, offering savories and cakes, prepared betel nuts, sacred threads, fruits, and sugar cane. The ladies gave the bride the remnants of the offerings and then blessed her. She in turn bowed down to them and the deity and accepted the remnants as prasadam. The princess then gave up her vow of silence and left the Ambika temple, holding onto a maid servant with her hand, which was adorned with a jeweled ring. Rukmini appeared as enchanting as the Lord's illusory potency, who enchants even the sober and grave. Thus the kings gazed upon her virgin beauty, her shapely waist and her lovely face adorned with earrings. Her hips were graced with a jewel-studded belt. Her breasts were just budding, and her eyes seemed apprehensive of her encroaching locks of hair. She smiled sweetly, her jasmine-bud teeth reflecting the glow of her bimba-red lips as she walked with the motions of a royal swan. The effulgence of her tinkling ankle bells beautified her feet. Seeing her, the assembled heroes were totally bewildered. The lust tore at their hearts. Indeed, when the kings saw her broad smile and shy glance, they became stupefied, dropped their weapons, and fell unconscious to the ground from their elephants, chariots, and horses. On the pretext of the procession, Rukmini displayed her beauty for Krishna alone. Slowly she advanced, the two moving lotus whorls of her feet, awaiting the arrival of the Supreme Lord. With the fingernails of her left hand, she pushed some strands of hair away from her face and shyly looked from the corner of her eyes at the king standing before her. At that moment she saw Krishna. Then, while his enemies looked on, the Lord seized the princess, who was eager to mount his chariot. Purport, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, Rukmini was anxious that her locks of hair might impede her vision, since she was most eager to see her beloved Krishna. Non-devotees or demons are bewildered at seeing the opulence of the Lord, and think that his potency is meant for their gross sense gratification. But Rukmini, an expansion of Krishna's internal pleasure potency, was meant for the Lord alone. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti quotes the following verse to describe the kind of woman known as Shama. Sita kale bhavet ushno ushna kale tu sitala stan au su kantino yasya sa Shama parikirtita. A woman is called Shama when her breasts are very firm and when someone in her presence feels warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti further points out that since the beautiful form of Rukmini is a manifestation of the Lord's internal energy, the non-devotees cannot perceive her. Thus, the heroic kings assembled in Vidarbha were agitated with lust upon seeing the Lord's illusory potency and expansion of Rukmini. In other words, no one can lust after the Lord's eternal consort, since as soon as one's mind is contaminated with lust, the covering of Maya separates one from the pristine beauty of the spiritual world and its inhabitants. Finally, Srimati Rukmini Devi felt shy as she looked from the corner of her eyes at the other kings, for she did not want to meet the glances of those inferior men. lifting the princess onto his chariot, whose flag bore the emblem of Garuda, Lord Madhava drove back the circle of kings, with Balaram in the lead. He slowly exited like a lion removing its prey from the midst of jackals. The kings, inimical to the Lord, headed by Jarasandha, could not tolerate this humiliating defeat. They exclaimed, "Oh, damn us! Though we are mighty archers, mere cowards have stolen our honor, just as puny animals might steal the honor of lions." Purport from the last two verses of this chapter, it is clear that the perverted intelligence of demons make them perceive things in a way exactly opposite to reality. It is clearly stated that Krishna stole Rukmini like a lion taking its prey from the midst of jackals. The demons, however, saw themselves as lions and Lord Krishna as an inferior creature. Without Krishna consciousness, life becomes most dangerous. Thus end the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to 10th Canto, 53rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Krishna Kidnaps Rukmini. So, there's an elaborate description of Rukmini going to the temple, which was the opportunity by which Krishna could steal her. So, she performed the rituals and worshipped Durga Devi, but in her worship, she asked simply that Krishna be her husband. And then she left. And here's a description of the different people's response. So obviously everyone was attracted to her, but as we know, demons cannot actually perceive the Lord, nor can they perceive His internal energy, His Antaranga Shakti or Sarup Shakti. They can't perceive the manifestations of that Sarup Shakti, such as the spiritual world, or those devotees. So what do they perceive? They perceive a shadow of the actual thing. So when they look at Krishna, they see a form, but they don't see the beauty, the spiritual beauty of that form. They see a material entity. So here we see how they describe Krishna and Balaram as mere coward boys. They don't think of them as, they don't understand their Supreme Lord. They don't see their superior beauty and other qualities. They think, oh, there's cowards disguised as kshatriyas. And similarly, when they see Rukmini, yes, they are attracted, but they're attracted to something material. They see a material form. So, of course, we also see the example of Mohini Avatar, the Lord Himself took the form of a woman, and then He went to the demons, and the demons became attracted to Mohini. But they weren't attracted to the spiritual potency of Mohini. Again, they saw something material, and they were attracted for material reasons. So they actually didn't see the Supreme Lord in His form as Mohini. They saw a reflection of that. And we also see the example of Ravana. Ravana became attracted and kidnapped Sita. But actually, he didn't kidnap Sita because Sita wasn't even there. It was another form that Agni produced. So it was a Maya form. It wasn't the real form of Sita Devi because he couldn't actually touch her or do anything with her. So in this way, the demons, they may be attracted to the Shakti of the Lord, consort of the Lord, but it's the wrong Shakti. It's an expansion of that Shakti. It's another form. Similarly, we see that we have the form of Lakshmi, but we have another Lakshmi that people worship in the material world, the one that gives money. So that's a different Lakshmi. That's not the real Lakshmi. Some materialists may worship Lakshmi, they're not worshiping the real Lakshmi, who was the consort of Vishnu. They're worshiping the expansion of that Lakshmi, who's a material form. It's got a material form and gives only material benedictions. Yeah, so they're worshiping a different form, actually, and a reflection form, not the real form. So in this way, it's a little confusing because there seems to be two forms of the Lord, two forms of His Shakti, etc.
So this is, we can say, present in when Krishna appears on the planet or another form of the Lord appears on the planet. People see him in different ways, and they also see his Shakti in different ways. So the devotees, they will see the Lord as the Lord and all of his attractive features, and it invokes their prema. The demons see the Lord. They see him as a material person, as a competitor, and they want to fight with him. No prema at all. And when they see the Shakti of the Lord, it's just a beautiful woman, so they desire the beautiful woman. They want to enjoy her. And they think that the Supreme Lord should not have this consort. We deserve him because we're better. So in this way, they actually don't see the Lord or his consort, though it appears they do, because their form is there, but it's actually a different form that they see. Similarly, it's described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur that when a materialist come to Navadvip Dham, they don't actually see the Dham. They just see a covering on the Dham that kind of looks like it, but at the same time it's not the same thing. And they will take it as a material place. And the same with Vrindavan. So materialists go there, they don't see the real Dhamma. Of course, if they don't commit offense, they still get some effect from that, just as any type of bhakti can affect us and stimulate some sort of faith and whatever. So if one goes to the Dham and one has no offense, yes, one can get some effect, even though one doesn't appreciate it fully. So when things, spiritual things appear in the material world, then often even the materialists can see them, but they see them differently. Similarly, you see Shishupala, who was a relative of Krishna, but he hated him because actually he was, for many births, he had been the enemy of Krishna, or the Supreme Lord. So when he saw him, he didn't appreciate his beauty at all. But because his hatred was so intense, he always concentrated on him. And because of that, eventually he became purified. Even he actually didn't see the real form of the Lord, because he concentrated on that form because it was beautiful. It became attractive even to Shishupala. So that is the extraordinary attraction of Krishna. It can attract even the demons, in spite of the fact that their eyes are still covered. Still, it can attract them, and they will concentrate on him. So Shishupala concentrated in hatred upon the Supreme Lord. So, not good, because it's aparad actually to think of the Lord as enemy and want to fight and want to kill him. But that concentration itself purified him, in spite of his hatred of the Lord. So merely the contact with the Lord gradually purified him. Until the time when, at the Rajasuya sacrifice, when Krishna killed him with the Sudarshan Chakra, at the last moment, he became purified enough that he could actually see the form of the Lord, just as the Sudarshan Chakra was killing him. So he saw the form of the Lord, and then he went to Vaikuntha, because he saw the real form of the Lord with purified eyes. But it took all that time. So many years he was concentrating on the Lord, thinking of him as a cowherd and a cheater, etc., offensively. But gradually he got purified. So this, of course, is rare. And actually, this example is given to show that Krishna is special. Because the same Jiva saw Nrsimhadev and saw Ramchandra, but he didn't concentrate on him. So in other words, the beauty of Krishna was so extraordinary that he concentrated on him more than anything else. But he did not concentrate on, as Hiranyakasipu, he didn't concentrate on Nrsimhadev, and as Ravan, he did not concentrate upon the form of Rama, even though he saw that form. Now why? Because Krishna's beauty is special, more attractive, and his name is more powerful. So Shishupala chanted the name in aparad, obviously, when he chanted Krishna's name, and he looked at him in aparad with hatred, but he did it often, not just once or twice, because of the attractive nature of Krishna. And then he became purified from that. And thus, when he was killed, he went to Vaikuntha. Whereas Nrsimhadev killed Hiranyakasipu didn't go to Vaikuntha. He got another birth. When Ramchandra killed Ravana, he didn't go to Vaikuntha also. He was not qualified. But when Krishna killed Shishupala, he was qualified because of that concentration, which is because of Krishna's superior attraction. Even though he's all one, he's Nrsimhadev and Ramchandra, the wonderful qualities manifested in Krishna is more, and therefore he became very attracted to those qualities of Krishna. So this is to show that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, that he is has a superior manifestation of wonderful qualities, such that even the demons become absorbed in those qualities, even though they cannot appreciate them fully because they are looking at him with hatred. Still, they can become purified eventually, and then if the Lord kills them, then they can get either liberation or they can get the spiritual world. So, therefore, demons actually don't see the Lord. They see something, but they don't see the Lord. But devotees, they can see the Lord, the actual Lord. And the form of the Lord and the activities of the Lord become an inspiration for the devotees. So this is the main reason for the appearance of the Lord in the material world, to give enthusiasm to the devotees, to encourage them. And secondarily, his mission is to destroy the demons and restore Dharma, etc. But actually, his real mission is to please the devotees, to give them joy by his appearance and his activities. So this is natural because the Lord, though he can do many things, he gets his bliss from the bliss of the devotees. If the devotees are happy, then the Lord is happy. If they have joy, the Lord has joy. And secondarily, he can do these other things, give them protection and kill the demons, etc. So, therefore, that's the primary reason for the appearance of the Lord in the material world. That is, to give joy to the devotees. In the process of doing that, he accomplishes many other things. So when Krishna came, of course, the pretext was get rid of the burden of the earth. The inimitable kings, and especially Kamsa, are causing a very big problem. So the devatas prayed to Vishnu to do something, and then from that, Krishna appears. That's the immediate cause. But the real cause is Krishna wants to enjoy with his devotees. So he wants to enjoy in Vrindavan. So that's why he wants to appear. He wants to enjoy in Dwarka. And secondarily, he kills Kamsa and he kills these other kings and whatever, and restores Dharma and puts Yudhishthira on the throne. But mainly, it is to please his devotees and give them joy that the Lord manifests himself in the material world. So here, of course, what is the joy? The joy is after separation, he unites with his eternal consort, Rukmini. So in the material pastimes, they begin in separation, and finally they unite. So here, Krishna finally does that by stealing her away from the demons, including Shishupala. And this is, we can say, natural, that he should join with Rukmini in marriage, because eternally in the spiritual world, that's what happens. So he's merely fulfilling the position, their eternal position in the spiritual world by doing this. And what does this do? This gives joy. The whole relationship between Krishna and his Shakti is bliss. The main aspect of his Shakti is Ananda, and that's expressed in his consort. And so their relationship is one of bliss. So by doing this, he gives bliss to his consort. And of course, the consort gives bliss to the Supreme Lord. So it's an expression of his bliss also. But because there is Leela, then there is a little bit of a suspense here. Krishna not coming on time, and then when he does come, he steals her, and then there is a battle with all the demons, etc., like that. So there's some obstacle. Krishna can overcome these, but it creates some excitement in the relationship also. And we see with Rukmini that she has fear at certain points, and when she's been taken away, and then her brother gets caught, etc. So different emotions are manifested in this whole pastime to enhance the relationship of love between Rukmini and Krishna.
Well, see, here these demons, they are not seeing this Krishna's potency as a real potency. They are seeing it's like, attractive things to enjoy. So, can you say, can you explain it in different ways? Like, see, in the material world, we see, normally devotees also sometimes, see the things in different way, according to the angle, according to their purified heart, or maybe it's contaminated, we don't know. Okay. So what is the real object that is covered from the eyes of the devotees? Sometimes we see. What is the real object or real things, reality is covered from the devotees. Like in here demons, they cannot see the bit of...
well, in the case of the devotees in Prema, something is covered because they all see the Lord differently. Those in Vatsalya Rasa see Krishna as a small child. Those in Madhurya Rasa see him as lover. Those as friends see him as equal, etc. So, according to their rasa, then their vision is also something else. Krishna reveals different things. So that's the nature of the Supreme Lord. Simultaneously, he's different things to different people in the spiritual world. It's all spiritual, of course. So we have the spiritual form of Krishna, and for some, he looks like a helpless child. For other, he's an equal friend. For other, he's a lover, etc. So it's all one Krishna, but he can manifest different features for different persons in response to their particular mood. And they don't see him in any other way. So we can say that this is, one sense, the function of the Lord's yoga maya or something to limit their perception of the Lord in the spiritual world.
That is in the spiritual world, but in the material world, the devotees sometimes, there is a conflict because of the, different opinion. But reality is something different.
Well, if they still have some ignorance, then obviously a lot of the disagreement may be due to ignorance. They don't have proper knowledge, and they're not advanced enough, then they will have some ignorance, and that will cause differences.
Because in the material world, see, everyone has a little bit ego. Out of ego, they try to put their own opinion, and try to suppress other opinion, And another question, Maharaj, see, normally in the Bhagavad Gita, 6, it said that Anta Kala Samabhava. If you take that verse, and if you see that when Ravana and Kumbhakarna died, I think they're chanting Lord Rama's name, and according to that verse, they're supposed to reach Ayodhya, but they didn't. Again, they took birth different next life. Who? This Ravana and Kumbhakarna. But they chanted Rama because they died in front of Rama, as well as they chanted Rama's name also. It's mentioned somewhere.
Yeah, but they didn't do it constantly. And they did it as demons, so they don't get the full effect. Even Shishapala, same person, same demon, but constantly, because Krishna was so attractive. He uttered his name in hatred, and he thought of him in hatred. So the difference was the constancy of uttering his name and concentrating on the form of Krishna. Then he got purified. In other cases, they utter his name, but not all the time. And they see his form, but not all the time. And they're not that attracted to him because they're covered over.
So can you say that the Bhagavad Gita, this was Satatam Kirtyantam Yatansa Dhivravata, that Dhivravata is the main component here? Mm-hmm. Dhivravata means with firm determination, with concentration, one has to think of the Lord. Can you say like this?
Well, that obviously the devotee, another thing is the devotee is favorably inclined, whereas the demons aren't at all, and therefore they're apparatis. So it's much more difficult for them to advance. Devotees are favorable. Still, they may have material desires and whatnot, but they can advance because they're favorable. They can advance much more quickly than that. Because they're favorable. So the only way the demon can advance is if they concentrate on the Lord all the time, but they don't because they're so covered over. But when Krishna manifests, then he's so attractive that they concentrate on him, and this eventually destroys all their anarthas. But it's because of Krishna's attractive features.
In the case of Kumbhakarna, we see, that, he appreciated Rama's beauty. Even he informed Ravana also that he might be Supreme Lord. Although not appreciate fully, with a deep faith, but he had some faith on Rama.
So maybe he was a little better, less of a demon.
My question is in relation to his question. Like, when Lord Ram killed a lot of demons, what kind of benefit they got by being killed by him?
Generally, the demons, any like in Nectar Devotion, there describes the 64 qualities of the Lord. So among the 60 is there for Vishnu, that when he kills a demon, they don't go to hell. They get a good birth. Doesn't say they go to Vaikuntha, doesn't say they go to get liberation, but they get a good birth. So generally, like when Nrsimhadev killed Hiranyakasipu, then he was born as Ravana. He got a good birth in the sense he could enjoy nicely material world. So they don't go to hell, and they can enjoy nicely in the material world somehow or other. But they don't get liberation. They don't get only when Krishna kills the demon, they may get liberation or go to Vaikuntha.
Shrimad Bhagavatam ki